It's nice, isn't it? If you look at it from here, amongst these quiet woods, everything seems perfect. But our land hasn't always enjoyed such peace. We know well that no part of the world is always at the height of glory. It's a fact of life. Today we want to tell you our story that has determined our community for the better or for the worse. Our Lucania, an alternative name to Basilicata, especially the area called the Vulture Malfese, has been through some very difficult times. It has experienced wars, mass emigration and earthquakes, which have not only altered the nature of the landscape but have also had a lasting effect on our way of life and our way of thinking. The unrelenting process of immigration has had a profound effect on this region. Man is naturally inclined to migrate from one place to another in search of food or other conditions necessary for his well-being. To cut a long story short, an analysis of trends in the last century revealed that Italy is a nation of emigrants. Prior to the country's industrial growth, which occurred from the early 19th to the outbreak of the Great War, Italy had a primarily agricultural economy. People emigrated in mass to search for work. Around 6,000 Italians left Italy every year, resulting in a mass exodus of around 9 million in the period between 19th and the beginning of World War I. 45% of the emigrants went to the USA, and 17% of these immigrants originated from the south of Italy. In the 19th, 10,797 people emigrated from Lucania, of which 4,1730 went to live in the USA. The reason for this massive wave of emigration were the heavy tax bounder, poor economic conditions, low industrial productivity, the confiscation of rights to the ownership of property by landowners, making it difficult for the working class to improve their conditions. Much has been said about immigration from Italy and from Lucania to the USA, generally focusing on the negative aspects of this phenomenon, which cannot be denied. However, one should also point out that many of these immigrants made a name for themselves and honored their land of origin through their accomplishments. For instance, the construction entrepreneurs Laurenzana Abate, the D'Angelo family of Rionero, the Federici family of Castelgrande, the Paterno and Campagna families of Castelmezzano. Several famous names in the banking sector also originated from Basilicata, such as Salvatore Bonomo, managing director of the Chase National Bank, Piero Dinella from Salandra, and Lionello Pereira, managing director of the Security State Bank and of the Commercial Exchange Bank. Emigration is part and parcel of the makeup of our region. It is true to say that from every Lucanian family, at least one member has emigrated, and so we are well aware of the hardship that leaving home entails. The suffering experienced by those who have had to leave their homeland, their family and friends, to seek their fortune in a distant land. We too know something of the American dream, the belief that we still have today of finding our fortune elsewhere and one day being able to return to our homeland and enjoy a hard-earned retirement in comfort. It has not always worked out like that. Many of those who left never returned, and others, on returning, found their dream to be mainly an illusion. As you know, dreams dissipate at sunrise. We Lucanians are an exception. All too often our dreams vanished already at nightfall. The night, for us Lucanians, was the fateful one of November 23rd, 1980. The hour was 19:34. It seemed to be a night like all the others. Nobody could imagine what was about to happen. In a few seconds, about 40 seconds, everything started to crumble. Not only the buildings, also hope. The night became dark. The Vulture Melfese has known many natural disasters, but the last two, the earthquakes of 1930 and 1980, were able to destroy even the strongest souls. If every word used to describe the earthquake of November 23rd could be transformed into a brick, probably the reconstruction would have already ended. Unfortunately, it's easier to speak than it is to assemble bricks. Lots was said regarding those moments, the drama of those hours, the loss, the pain, the social and economic catastrophes. During those moments, not only the walls crumbled, but also the hope that was later replaced by the word death. Initially, there was absolute despair, but later the people of Lucania pulled themselves together, regained hope and faced the difficult task of rebuilding from scratch. It is difficult to pick yourself up from the ground unless someone gives you a hand and rekindles your hope. The support from all parts of the world was extremely valuable because they concentrated on helping to reconstruct schools in the region. Rionero was one of the first communities to draw benefit.
As we all know, in 1980 there was a terrible earthquake in Irpinia and Basilicata region, which caused huge damages both to people and scholastic buildings. And the Americans understood it. The Italians who lived in America gave a contribution to Basilicata and Campania regions, among which Rionero, Muro Lucano and Picerno for Basilicata region, and Buccino, Siano and Atripalda in Campania region. The works supervision for the school that I've just mentioned were entrusted to an office in Naples. under the direction of university professors Izzo and Gubitosi. They asked me to supervise the works in Rionero. The works started in 1981 and went on very fastly. In fact, the school was completed in 3 years. It was also possible thanks to the collaboration of the local workforces, which helped to build this beautiful school that the American population gave to the Italian one, and then to Rionero community. Not everybody knows that when the Americans built a facility, they define the amount before they start working, and it can't be changed. It's not variable, as it is in Italy, unfortunately. But during the works, the dollar value went down, so they couldn't complete everything. In fact, on the south side of the school, there must have been a sport track, which wasn't realized because of it. Finally, I can say that this school is a bunker for teachers and students who are really safe and sound here in case of a new earthquake. The earthquake which struck Basilicata region and Irpinia in the 23rd November 1980 became an international matter, and there was a solidarity competition, and this building is the result of it. It was promoted by the American Parliament, which pushed for the State Department and the American government to support it. One of the protagonists was the senator of Avellino province, D'Amato, who took part to some meetings we had in Avellino to decide the financing for this building called campus. Actually, we knew soon after the earthquake about their willingness, and about that Basilicata region chose to realize one of the scholastic buildings here in Rionero in Vulture because of the huge damages they had. Then a delegation of the American consulate came, and the works and all the procedures of the project followed, and the administration before mine located in this area the place for the building. But it was our duty to make the realization of this building possible. This was something that could have had dramatic consequences for the landowners, who risked to be expropriated for little money, some lands potentially useful. In that occasion, our administration decided to test an urbanistic formula, which was the first in Italy to give their landowners a relief, not economically, but in volumetric terms, in the sense that on their land we cut a part in which they could realize private buildings using the stand volume they had given us. This system was used in the general urbanistic instrument, in the master plan, which we realized after some months. Thus, we were the first to use this compensation mechanism. Unfortunately, the available resources weren't enough to complete the project, which was expected to have a soccer field, a sport track, and a school canteen, in addition to the school, just like the American campus. For this reason, we called it campus, to thank the American population, even it's not actually a real campus like theirs. Just one thing. During the first meeting we had with the architects who had received the task from the Americans to realize these buildings, together with the president of the region, Professor Verrastro, I remarked that the flat roof of the building could have caused problems because our climatic area think that actually happened. And once again, in the second half of the 90s, as a regional councillor, I managed to have a loan to arrange everything. So this school is the product of the solidarity and the generosity of the United States of America. And it was the chance to collaborate to realize a building which had and has an important role and a function that I believe it can still have.
Quindi questa scuola è il frutto della solidarietà e della generosità degli Stati Uniti d'America e la possibilità poi di collaborare insieme a realizzare comunque una struttura che ha avuto un ruolo e una funzione e credo che possa continuare ad averla.
Rionero in Vulture is an Italian town with 13,230 inhabitants located on the slopes of Mount Vulture in the province of Potenza, Basilicata. The area was inhabited already in the 4th century before Christ, but only after the destruction of Atella by a violent earthquake was it replaced by the large population that was forced to leave Atella. During the Spanish occupation, the town experienced a period of peace and prosperity. Because of a violent earthquake in 1694, its population was less than 700 inhabitants. A subsequent period of prosperity led to a surge in the growth of the population, and it reached 11,000 in 1811. It became an independent community. Following the demise of the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies and its annexation to the Kingdom of Italy, people lost all hope in a better fortune, and the promise made by the new government to resolve the issue of the ownership of prosperity were not fulfilled, and the people were dissatisfied. As a result, Rionero became center of a post-unification rebellion. It was the birthplace of the most famous rebel of the period, Carmine Crocco, known as Donatelli. He was a laborer who enrolled in Garibaldi's army of 1,000 soldiers. Disillusioned by the fact that he was not forgiven for being a dissenter, he joined the Bourbon army to fight against the Borghese and the army of the Italian kingdom. The building Giustino Fortunato in Rionero in Vulture, official residence of one of the most important personalities of southern Italy, is located in the main square. The structure, designed by Gustavo Scelzo, is made up of tufo and it has a particular L shape. The main part of the building, that has a rectangular plan, is articulated on 2 floors. The prospect facing Via Garibaldi presents a series of arched windows. This historical structure has been restructured more than once because of the damage caused by the various earthquakes during the years. The last one occurred on November 23, 1980. Today, after the reconstruction works, the building regained its ancient beauty and it's a delightful tourist destination, while its library surely remains a reference point for students and researchers. The palace was built at the beginning of the 18th century when Carmelo Fortunato, ancestor of Giustino, left Giffunisi Casali and transferred to Rionero. Between the end of the 18th century and the beginning of the 19th century, the structure was expanded by his son Pasquale and his grandson Anselmo. This residence was the meeting point of many personalities, such as the King Giuseppe Bonaparte, Ferdinando II di Borbone, Giuseppe Zanardelli, Benedetto Croce, Gaetano Salvemini, e Francesco Saverio-Nitti. In 1970, the complex was purchased by municipal administration, and in 1956 it was declared historical monument of national interest. The territory of the Vulture is the largest reserve of natural water in Italy. In fact, it holds the 30% of the national reserves. The area has unique geological features attributable to volcanic activity. Mount Vulture is an extinct volcano. It's 1,327 meters high. In the area there are numerous mineral springs, which for thousands of years have formed an immense resource of mineral water. The mineral water bottling plant called Fonte Vulture Ltd, located in this area, distributes still water all over Italy. A charming part of Basilicata is the one around the Monte Vulture, an ancient volcano inactive today. The charming lakes of Monticchio lie within its slopes. The two lakes, like mirrors of water, were originally the craters of the volcano. They are separated by a strip of land. The bigger lake is an unusual olive color, while the smaller lake has a more intense color, because it's deeper than the former. The whole location is surrounded by dense woods of beech trees, poplar and older trees. Lilies float on the surface of the lakes, forming a very unusual sight. The fauna includes deers, wolves, hawks and owls, as well as many species of fish and butterflies, amongst which we can find the bramia, a rare butterfly that you can find exclusively in the woods. The remains of the Abbey of Sant Ippolito of the 11th century are remarkable. They are situated between the two lakes. On the slopes of the crater, the Abbey of Sant Michele towers over the small lake. It is built into the mountainside and it's made of tufa. Near this location we can find rich sources of water. CROB in Rionero is a center for archaeological research. It was built in 1989 and started to specialize in the treatment of cancers. In 1997, under the support and guidance of the National Institute for Cancer Research in Milan. In 2000, the importance of its function as a center for scientific research and treatment of cancers was recognized.
The club isn't the best place to find the lovers, so the bar is where I go. Me and my friends at the table doing shots, tripping fast and then we talk slow. And you come over and start up a conversation with just me, and trust me, I'll give it a chance. Now take my hand, stop it, and the man on the jukebox, and then we start to dance. And now I'm singing like, girl, you know I want your love. Your love was handmade for somebody like me. Come on now, follow my lead. I may be crazy, don't mind me. Say, boy, let's not talk too much. Grab on my waist and put that body on me. Come on now, follow my lead. Come on now, follow my lead. I'm in love with the shape of you. We push and pull like a magnet do. Although my heart is falling too. I'm in love with your body. And last night you were in my room, and now my bedsheets smell like you. Every day discovering something brand new. Well, I'm in love with your body. I'm in love with your body.
I hope we have given a clear enough impression of our hometown. Time is short, and so we had to be concise as possible. We hope that you will accept our small gesture of gratitude in return for the generous act of the United States towards us in the rebuilding of our school after the 1980 earthquake.
You and me are thrifty, so go all you can eat. Fill up your bag and I fill up the plate. We talk for hours and hours about the sweet and the sour, and how your family's doing okay. And leaving, getting a taxi, kissing the backseat, tell the driver make the radio play. And I'm singing like, girl, you know I want your love. Your love was handmade for somebody like me. Come on now, follow my lead. I may be crazy, don't mind me. Say, boy, let's not talk too much. Grab on my waist and put that body on me. body. I'm in love with the shape of you. We push and pull like a magnet do. Although my heart is falling too, I'm in love with your body. Last night you were in my room, and now my bedsheets smell like you. Every day discovering something brand new.